this week, which made the suggestion that WWE should end the brand split. And the main reasoning behind this is that they now don't have, they don't have enough stars. Essentially, they've released the majority of their roster. So if it's just one roster, then it'll cost them less money as well. It'll be, a lot simpler for them to handle. And also, right, and this is something I wanted to quickly talk about. Never has wrestling, right? WWE have never gone up in viewership ever, right? Continuously gone up in viewership when a brand split has been in order, right? They've started going down as soon as SmackDown came about, right? That's when it started going down the views, and it was very, very slowly going down, right? It wasn't like overnight, oh bang, as soon as the brand split got introduced, but it started to go slowly down. And then in 2016, the viewership, right, of course it was still going down because of stuff like streaming and that, but it was estimated that the fan base of WWE was actually going up. And then as soon as they did the brand split, of course, there was tons of hype about it, right? And, there's no doubt in that there was a boom at the start. But then the exact same things happen, and look where wrestling is now. It's in a place, it's worse than it's ever been before, fan base-wise. And my opinion on that could actually be the fact that when there's two brands, there's so many names, it's too hard for people to keep up with, right? Casual fans to keep up with. So by having one, brand across, one roster across two shows, it makes it a lot easier for fans, casual fans to get invested into the product. And in that, that could actually save the product. But from a fan's point of view, who watches a lot of wrestling, I love the brand split because it gives everybody, the time they deserve. Well, it should. It doesn't always, but it should give everyone the time they deserve. And that's why I am a fan of that. But when you're looking at it in the big picture, I'm not sure if it is the right idea anymore. What are your thoughts, Carl?
If you asked me this question at the start of the year, probably was a definite no. But after all the releases and stuff, I think I'm definitely more open to the idea because, I know Raw, like, there's probably arguably 2 stars in Raw, and that's Bobby and Drew, and they're getting stale, because they just keep facing each other every week. But I think I won't be against having the brand split end. They have since the brand split, the brand split first happened for the second time in 2016. It was Raw was fantastic. SmackDown was fantastic. It was a really good time in WWE when the brand split first happened, but it's slowly been gotten worse. And I genuinely think it would help WWE because that way they just have to focus. I know it's 2 separate shows, but they kind of just have to focus on the one show.
Yeah.
Because it's just an extended version. And that way everything be more coherent and the stories might improve rather than because I think SmackDown is better than Raw, but as we said before, it's just Roman's better than everything and SmackDown's okay. So I think if you just have all the same writers in one room, it might work out better than having Raw be a different show to SmackDown. Because I think the reasons why it was so good, it's because back years ago they felt pure different. SmackDown felt like a completely different show to Raw, but now I just find they're very, very similar. Just SmackDown does a better job at it.
Yeah, it's actually basically the exact same writing team now. There's very few differences at all. The difference with the Roman storyline is, I'm not certain on everyone who's involved, right? But it's Heyman, I believe Vince is involved. I don't actually think Pritchard's involved at all, and Roman himself, and it's done behind closed doors, right? So the writing team don't actually know what's going on with that, and it's seemingly booked in advance, which of course is great, and that's one of the reasons why it's been so good. The effort they put into that storyline, they should put into everything, right? But let me also just suggest this, right? The issue. And I think WWE have actually tried to do it a bit more over the last couple of years, right? Is if you have 2 brands, you can only have a couple of top stars on each brand, right? Because on the poster, you can't fit on 20 people, right? Or big on the front of it. And casual fans need, only a few names people to connect with. And that's why if you have two different brands, you obviously can only have a couple of stars on each one. If you have if you just have one brand, not one brand, one roster over two brands, then you can have a bigger title picture and bigger stars in general. Now, of course, that gives some of the smaller names less of a chance, right? And big shocks and stuff probably won't have as much. Things such as the Kofi title reign, Jinder Mahal title reign, both probably wouldn't have happened if it was one roster. But it's getting to the point I've got to look at this from a business perspective somewhat, right? Clearly, when that's happening, when there's two separate brands, casual fans aren't getting involved. So perhaps it is time, and even though it's gutting for some of us hardcore wrestling fans, it probably is time for them to, I don't want to say give, this the less popular guys, or the guys they don't come in and they push straight away. I don't want to say that can never happen. Look, Daniel Bryan did it when there was. There wasn't a brand split when Daniel Bryan did it, was there?
No, he came
No,
in
there
2010, so no, I was...
there was. Because he, of course, had both the championships, yeah. But, so it's possible that people can just come in and, shock things can happen. But, yes, it decreases the chances of them by a lot. But it would make it a lot more easy for casual fans to get involved. It would boost the ratings and therefore boost the money. And long term, that would probably offer more... That would offer probably a better product because there'd be more money going into the product. And I think that's why I'm actually for the man in the brand split, if I'm being completely honest here. And I know that's going to be massively unpopular.
I agree, because I think having, Raw's lacking stars, or SmackDown have the biggest star. So if you're able to spread Roman across both shows, I think both shows, I think Roman will elevate Raw as well as SmackDown. And I think having Drew and Bobby face fresh people will elevate them as well. And plus, I think Kevin Owens could succeed better if he wasn't stuck in a 2-hour show. I think if Kevin Owens on Raw in particular, I think he'd expand more. Even though he wasn't Raw, he didn't do a whole lot. But I think Kevin Owens is too talented not to be a face of the brand. Especially people say his image isn't necessarily WWE terrible, and the dude's lost the hip away. He looks better than he ever has. I think Kevin Owens definitely expand, because I think with being on SmackDown, the limited SmackDown, he's not going to get above Roman. It's not going to happen. So I think he's someone, if he was on Raw, I think now he would be facing Drew and Lashley in the title scene, because they're lacking that type of star power. I think ending the brand split would help people shine more, because then instead of seeing one Ricochet match, you could see two, and then all Ricochet's on stuff a lot type of thing. So I think it definitely will elevate people more, because if you restrict people to time limits, you see Ricochet for 10 minutes a week, how is he going to be a star? But if you see him for 10 minutes, that's 20 minutes of TV time. That's a lot better.